Multiplication of complex numbers. This time we're going to multiply two complex numbers together rather than multiplying by a scalar. So we can take z1 and z2 and multiply these. If z1 is 4 plus j2 and z2 is 2 plus j3, we need to multiply these numbers, 4 plus j2 and 2 plus j3. So we can use the usual rules of algebra. Some people call it FOIL, or we can call it multiplying every term in the first bracket by every term in the second, or multiply each term in the first by each in the second. So the long way to write this is 4 multiplied by the second bracket. Add j2 multiplied by the second bracket. 4 2s are 8, plus j times 4 3s is 12. Second part, j times 4. This time we have j times j, which is j squared. 2 3s are 6. Now when we get to this stage, we have to remember that j squared is the square root of -1 multiplied by the square root of -1, because it's j times j. So in the end, j squared is actually equal to -1. So we can use this to simplify. 8 plus j12 plus j4, and replace j squared with -1 plus -1 times 6. Simplifying here, we have 8 subtract 6, that is 2. And j, 12 plus 4 is 16, so that's j16. So when we're working out the multiplication of complex numbers, always use j squared to simplify as -1 if possible. z1 multiplied by z3. z1 equals 4 plus j2. z3 is 3, subtract j5. 4 plus j2 multiplied by 3, subtract j5. This time I'm going to use FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. The firsts are 4 times 3, 12. The outers are 4 times -j5, so that's -j20. The inners will be plus j, and 2 3s is 6. Then the lasts is negative overall. J times j is j squared, and 2 times 5 is 10. Now it's a good idea to write down j squared in this step, and then the following step you use the simplification j squared equals -1. Don't try and do all of this in one step. In this line I'm going to replace the j squared. So we have negative already, and replace the j squared with -1. And that's multiplied by 10. Now simplify. 12, subtract j20, add j6, subtract negative is a positive, so that's positive 10. Collect our terms. The real terms are 12 plus 10, 22. And the imaginary terms are negative 20, add 6, which is negative j14. Z1 squared equals Z1 multiplied by Z1. And Z1 equals 4 plus J2. So we write down Z1 twice, 4 plus J2, multiplied by 4 plus J2, and multiply with FOIL. 4 fours is 16. The outer terms will be 4 twos is 8, and that's a J term, J8. The inner terms is also J8. And the lasts are plus J squared times 4. Now we use J squared equals negative 1 to simplify further. 16 plus J8 plus J8 plus negative 1 times 4. So we have 16 plus J8 plus J8 subtract 4. Collect the real terms, 16 subtract 4, 12. The imaginary terms, J16.